Treasury is like the heart of every organization, I like to say, right? So it's like hashtag Treasury from that perspective, because, cash is the lifeblood of every organization. And I think it's an understated, hugely valuable and opportunistic role within a company. You're in the know of everything, right? And you need to be able to make sure that you are pumping cash in all the right directions where it needs to be. A great opportunity to get exposure to senior leaders. And it's fun because it's, for those who accounting is kind of like you're looking at the past, and then, finance, you're always focused on the future and forecasting, and then Treasury, you live for today.
Before we start, I want to highlight the biggest challenge I've noticed in the Treasury industry. It's professionals finding it tough to build an impactful brand. That's exactly why I put together an ebook, Building and Managing an Impactful Professional Brand. It has helped over 100 professionals define their unique values and stand out in their careers. In this ebook, you'll find practical tips to build a strong network and sharpen the skills you need to succeed in this industry. And the best part? It's completely free. Grab your copy now by clicking the link in the description below. Welcome to this week's episode of the Treasury Truth or Dare podcast, where we challenge Treasury leaders to share their Treasury truths and dare to let us get to know them on a bit of a personal level. Today, I'm honored to welcome Bridget Meyer, the head of strategic partnerships at Red Bridge Debt and Treasury Advisory. Bridget brings an impressive background in Treasury and cash management with experience spanning the U.S. Treasury to helping organizations streamline their bank fee structures and merchant processing fees. She is also a self-proclaimed Treasury data nerd, making her the perfect guest for this episode's unique challenges. Throughout our conversation, Bridget will tackle compelling topics like the importance of analyzing bank fees, managing merchant processing fees, and how Treasury professionals can adapt to an ever-changing financial landscape. Over the course of our signature Truth or Dare rounds, Bridget will decide whether to share her expertise or take on a daring challenge live. Plus, after round 5, she'll get the chance to flip the script on me and dare me to do something on the spot. Stay tuned as Bridget makes her first choice, promising for an engaging session full of Treasury truths and, as always, fun surprises. Let's get into it. Bridget, welcome to the podcast. And why don't you give our audience a little bit about your background to get us started here?
Hi, Ernie. It's so nice to be here. And thanks for the invitation. I know you and I go way back, and it's always fun to talk shop and talk Treasury and learn fun things about each other, right? So even if we've known each other for years. So my background is Treasury, cash management, right? So I started off with the U.S. Treasury straight out of college, got moved to D.C., got to be immersed in cash management. I was in the modernization division for cash management, got to work on some fun projects like creating the requirements for the electronic federal tax payment system. Got to sit on my very first RFP for the IRS lockbox. That's where I kind of got indoctrinated or really exposed to account analysis and all that fun that goes along with it and how hard it was. But that's when I moved back to Texas to be closer to family. Then I joined AFP as a contractor. So that's how you and I met, right? So Jeff had asked me to kind of help him roll out the accreditation program to try to solve the problem at the bank level, and thought that was really cool. So I did that for about 10 years and then joined the Montauk Group, which is now Red Bridge. So now I get to help clients solve that problem. And I still work with the banks and whatnot to still try to solve that problem. So that's a little bit about me.
All right. So a little bit of process here for our viewers who haven't yet experienced a Treasury Truth or Dare podcast. The way we do things is we ask our guests to select a truth or dare over several rounds. After 5 rounds, we let our guests ask a dare of yours truly. Let's go ahead and get started with our first round. With Bridget, you going to start off? What are we going to do out of the gate? Truth or dare?
I'll go truth.
All right. Why don't you share with us truth? In which areas of Treasury are you most passionate?
Cash management, obviously, is my passion, and learning about how banks charge for their corporate clients across the world. I just find it fascinating. People think bank fees are boring, but when you get to see it in the lens like I do, and you see all the different patterns. I'm kind of a data nerd at heart, getting to see how it evolves. You see one bank evolving or creating a new product, and then the next bank, you start, oh, they all think it's like a brand new thing, but then before you know it, everybody's rolling out the same cool, shiny toy, and then seeing how they all different, charge differently for that is fun. It's always evolving, right? Banks are always innovating. They're always trying to sell you something different. And so to me, learning, it keeps me on my game to learn what's happening in the market, and then being able to advise clients on it. And kind of knowing the strategies that the different banks take. So that's what drives me, I think, in Treasury is what I think is super fun.
I think it's very interesting, and you put it in a great context, how much you learned about Treasury by looking at the bank fees and understanding the bank fees. So a good training tool is to get Treasury people, especially in the ops side, to understand the bank fees and what's going on. And so we'll probably hit on that a little bit later in our episode. So let's go ahead and give you another shot here on round 2. Are we going to do another truth, or are we going to?
Oh, we'll do a dare. Why not? Let's have some fun.
All right. Why don't you share with us what someone doesn't know about you or your hidden talent?
I would say I could do the hidden talent is probably easier than what somebody doesn't know about me, though I'm sure there's plenty. So a hidden talent is I have a vocal performance degree, actually. And a business degree. I decided to get both. So what people don't realize is that I used to sing opera professionally. I was a private voice instructor. I sing in some professional choirs today still. And why I love public speaking so much at Treasury conferences, because I think I've been on stage most of my life. And so I guess the fact that I'm a singer is probably something people don't necessarily know.
I know all of my friends, when they find out you're a vocal coach, they will encourage me to engage you before I go and sing karaoke, which will probably be later tonight, actually. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And we might have to explore that one a little bit later in the episode. All right, so let's move on. Thank you for taking a dare. What about round 3? What do you think? Truth or dare?
Let's go truth.
Okay. Let's just kind of, what you talk about and what you and I both have a passion on, and just give us a little bit more. And I talk about this too, a little bit for Treasury professionals, especially newer professionals. I think this is an opportunity for them. So why should companies pay more attention to not only bank fees, but merchant processing fees? Why is that so important for people to understand? And maybe it's just they don't understand how much opportunity is there.
So number one, everything falls under Treasury. It's like you kind of have to know a little bit of everything, and the problem is you really have to learn it in the school of hard knocks, right? You don't go to school for this stuff. So I spent years, to your point, of like using the AFP service code book as like my Wikipedia or my dictionary of Treasury services, and then trying to apply that. It's really how I developed my knowledge. But now I've been on a quest. Redbridge, we launched our card practice a couple years ago, I guess maybe 2018 now. But I have been on a journey of learning it myself, and eye-opening really to see, because a lot of times for many companies, merchant processing fees is much larger than cash management fees. Mm-hmm. And you don't have the data flowing through properly, like the architecture set up the right way. If you're not using the right, MCC codes, you're not, being viewed at the same way. It could be costing you millions and millions. And I think it just comes back down to the fact of because people just don't know what they're looking at. It's a lot of data. They don't have time. So many things get put on Treasury, or under Treasury, and card in particular is funny because sometimes it falls under marketing. Sometimes it falls under, accounting. Sometimes it can fall under IT. Like, who's responsible for signing these contracts with these acquirers and processors? But then at the end, Treasury sees the bill, right? And so I think there's a disconnect in a lot of organizations where Treasury sees that you're spending millions and millions. They may not know or have the expertise to fix it or to do something about it. I think there's so there's definitely opportunity there, and a whole other ocean of terminology and things you have to learn about in the merchant world.
I've been looking at this as well for a while, the merchant processing fees, and it's amazing how the fees add up just from the flow and the format. It gets pushed into another bucket of transaction type, and then and I thought bank analysis fees were long. I've seen 140 pages of trying to figure that out on top of your job, and you don't realize there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in there that you don't need to be.
Well, I think for me, what I found interesting is like, bank fees, there's like, you have a statement that would have 300 different services on it, right? Potentially 150, or I think on average, we've done some stats, like you'll have like at least 100 service descriptions that you have to comb through for a large corporate, right? So from a mapping perspective of that, the AFP codes, all of that, you have so many things, because at the end of the day, a cash management or account analysis statement is really an aggregation of a lot of products, right? A lot of payment products. You're doing, that one statement is going to include your cost for online banking, your treasury, your transmission services, your lock boxes, your disbursements, like everything can be on one statement, because that's the benefit of a bank, right? That you're leveraging the fact that they have all of this tech under the hood, and then you're really dealing with one vendor relationship. When it comes to merchant processing, you may have lots of different people under the hood, and but at the same time, you're really only talking about like one receivables product, right? You're like accepting card. And sometimes you can have your, e-checks and, electronic billing kind of flow through the merchant world, or it can flow through the bank, right? So it's fewer line items in some respects. And sometimes more packaging, more bundles, which can make it more cryptic to not understand what's driving that. And as companies grow, they think they're going to accept a little bit of card, and then all of a sudden it starts to grow. They need to better understand how interchange works. And it's not just I'm going to call and negotiate a better price like you might with a bank, right? On your bank fees. You're just like, let's call and benchmark. And there's a lot more nuance to the merchant world, where everybody's getting a piece of that. And so if you want to negotiate better, reduce the fees, you might need to be talking to different people or understanding what's driving those costs under the hood, I think is an important factor in the merchant world.
Okay, I think might be on round 5. So we got one more truth or dare for Bridget, and then I'll let you turn the tables on me. What are you up for?
Oh, well, let's do a dare.
All right. I don't know if this is a dare, but it's just trying to let us, I like this one. What's the least favorite part of your professional life?
Oof. That's a really tricky one, given where I'm at, because I've been with Redbridge for many, many years, and I've had a lot of hats. And I think when you see and you work with a company that grows so fast, right? And you're used to being very small. I was employee number 1 in Houston, right? I was like, now you just like, we just keep growing. I think it's hard when you realize letting go and passing the buck to other people as you grow, right? And then watching them take what you've built and take it to the next level can sometimes be just really hard to hold your tongue, especially if you're a person like me that does like to just to say things how it is. So I think it's exciting to watch growth. It also can be frustrating if you're to learn to let go.
I get that. You take ownership of the product in you. Most eventually it gets there, but some things it's like a part of your being and your family. It's like your brand. So it's like if someone's going to get in and do some stuff with the bank analysis side and the fees, and you're just like trying not to get into it. You're just got to kind of, let someone else.
Let me do it. I still want to go back and have and geek out on this. It's like, no, your job is this now. Like you need to do that.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. So let's give Bridget the opportunity here to ask me a dare. So let's see what you can come up with.
Okay, so I have a dare. It's kind of a truth, but it's kind of a dare. I dare you to tell me what your first impression of me was when I was a contractor working for you, and how you would have described Bridget. This is going back, 15 years ago? So I'm curious to see what you would say.
Like, why does this person love these service codes so much? Or how did she develop that love? I'm like, that's just a little bit odd, that you love these. And it's like, how do you know all these codes? And even I wasn't there that long, and I was like, I just cannot understand how you can know all this information and wowzers. And be honestly, what I thought was, and you did it. And I was like, man, Bridget's just incredibly bright. So I think when Bridget wants to get out of this a little bit, and I would say spread your wings a little bit, you're going to be tremendously successful. And I've seen that.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot, but of course you better say something nice. Otherwise,
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. All right. So let's get back. Let's give me the hat back on the truth or get dare guy. What are we gonna do now? Truth or dare?
do I get to dare you?
Well, you can if you want to. You can go ahead back to back. Go ahead.
Well, because that one was kind of a truth more than a
Yeah. All right.
dare.
I got you.
I dare you to say the alphabet backward without messing up.
Oh, well, that's probably not going to take very long. I don't think I can get past ZYX, and that's about it. That's about it as far as I can get. So I wouldn't be in good shape. My alphabet is impaired out of the gate. So that's a great one. So everyone's gonna know it. Now everyone's gonna ask me when I go to an event, what's I could say the Greek alphabet going forward. Alphabet gamma delta epsilon theta eta, but that's weird. That's a good question. So my cognitive abilities are limited on that part. So thank you for that. And they're going to call me Alphabet now. This podcast is going to spawn new nicknames. I've already called Donut because I did a session that had no people on it. So, okay. Well, thank you for that. All right. So let's get back to Bridget. Bridget, can I get you to do a truth or a dare?
All right, I did back. You can give me a dare.
Which movie is your guilty pleasure that other people might think is not that great, or that's your personal thing that your go-to if you're feeling bad or down, or I'll always watch it when it comes on TV?
That would be Pride and Prejudice. With the one with Keira Knightley in it.
Okay.
But also, well, it's a tough one because I also love Les Miserables, like the movie with Hugh Jackman. I know a lot of people were was kind of hit and miss on whether they really liked that one, but I am obsessed with Les Mis. I've seen the musical many times. I've read the book. That one is probably, that story is just, for me, my favorite anything. So if it's a book or a movie or anything that comes on Les Mis, I'm a huge judge and critic of it. Maybe Les Mis would beat out Pride and Prejudice.
I can't go this podcast without asking you to do this for me. It doesn't have to be long. I would love to if you were willing to give us a few, I don't know what the right musical term is, bars of an opera, just a little bit, a segment.
Oh, opera.
I would love to hear you, just a few bars. Ooh, I know it's hard to think, but opera or Les Mis, just something that shows us your chops a little bit.
Shows up my chops. Well, the one I sing the most is probably the Schubert Ave Maria. That one is a very well known. I think of all the Ave Marias that they sing out there. So. A lot of weddings, funerals. It's like one of those things that you sing a lot. If we're going classical here, put my singer hat on here. How's that?
That's pretty good. No, it's awesome. Now I'm going to compare that to someone who asked me to sing. So now I can't say the alphabet backwards and I can't sing. So I got that going for me.
I hear otherwise. I hear you sing just fine. So we got to come up with a duet. I think that would
go. There you go.
We'll have to do like the Shallows or.
Oh, yeah. I actually do that. I have a partner of mine and the woman is when Lady Gaga sings, that's the better, because no offense to whatever the beautiful guy's name is, but his voice it's okay, but I can do that one. All right. Well, that's the fun of this podcast. It's fun. We're fun. So as we digress. All right, let's get back to truth or dare. Give me a truth or a dare.
I'll ask you for a truth.
Okay. I know you have some resources coming out for this, so this is kind of a tee-up question. We can do better in supporting those that are newer to the Treasury profession. So to learn Treasury, can you share with us why you think that's important, and share with us maybe a little sneak peek of some resources that you're going to be sharing soon on that front?
Yeah, I think anyone who's been in Treasury for as many years as we have, right? And especially if you're in different roles, you tend to sometimes have a revolving door of always training new people, right? Because again, kids don't go to school for Treasury. It's a shame, honestly, that we don't have more resources, or even that they even know Treasury exists at the university level. It's always either finance, you major in finance, or you major in accounting. And I'm like, sometimes, depending, it's like people come to Treasury either from accounting or finance, right? I had my analyst come up with a, list of 50 things that they just, acronyms, Treasury terminology, had some new interns. And I said, compiled a list internally, because when you go through and you're constantly training, the more senior you get, the more you're having to like on repeat, train people. So decided that, just go ahead and film some intro videos for what those things are common for YouTube. Because I was asking, like, where do you go? Where would you go to learn this stuff? And most of the, these young kids are like, I would go to YouTube. I looked on YouTube. What can I find? So yeah, so we're just launching our Treasury Toolkit YouTube videos to help just 3 minutes. What is the topic? What is ECR? What is it used for? Why do people have it? And then, give a quick example. So just thought it would be helpful. A lot of when you're training on bank fees, I've been doing this, spoken on bank fees now a gazillion times around the country. It's just because there's nowhere else to really learn it. I had to learn it the hard way, trying to make that easier for those who are especially the analysts who are having to struggle with it on a daily basis. And that's why they don't do it. I think the CCV track is great. I think it's really, but you have to have 2 years of experience to sit for it. So there's, I think, still some ability to help those people. Even if you're a CAO, I was talking to a guy who just moved over to Treasury and had been a chief accounting officer. And he's like, there's still things about Treasury that like, it's all new for me. I thought the transition would be easier, but then there's just all these whole other animal. So I think even some of those video, like some of that can be really helpful even for them. So
I think it'll be great. We will share that as we promote your podcast episode. And I look forward to seeing that. And I think it's great. And one of the things that we need to do better at, which is what you're doing, is teaching people the language of Treasury. So everyone has their own language. So now we can speak, speak that same language. Let me ask you if you're up for this. I've got one question that I really like to ask you, and then get your final thoughts, and then we'll wrap things up. So here's a question I wish I would ask you earlier. It's a truth and kind of a dare. If you were stranded on a desert island, which one of your professional colleagues would you like to be stranded with, and why?
I think I'd bring Anna Barger with me. Anna is one of our young account owners, relationship managers here at Redbridge, but she's got so much drive and passion. And I feel like she would there's a problem, she's going to figure it out, and she's going to help me figure it out. And we do a good balance of that. So I would probably bring Anna with me.
Outstanding. So just the final thought to those listening. Maybe it's a moment of inspiration to get into Treasury, be a Treasury professional, or that Treasury is fun. Give us a final thought you want to share with our listeners today.
I think people just need to understand it. Like, Treasury is like the heart of every organization, I like to say, right? So it's like hashtag Treasury from that perspective, because, cash is the lifeblood of every organization. And I think it's an understated, hugely valuable and opportunistic role within a company. Where you really you're in the know of everything, right? And you need to be able to make sure that you are pumping cash in all the right directions where it needs to be. That is a huge role, a lot of stress, but a great opportunity to get exposure to senior leaders, C-suite. It's vastly important, and it's fun because it's, you're, for those who, accounting is kind of like you're looking at the past, and then finance, you're always focused on the future and forecasting. And then in Treasury, you live for today. And I think that can be a lot of fun as a career. And then it is always changing.
Thank you very much for being a guest, sharing your insights, but also in being such a great advocate for the Treasury profession. So thank you very much.
Join your local association, join AFC, join every, get networked out there, because everybody is just in their little, small universe. Right. And I think there's a lot they can learn from each other.
Yeah, let's move the profession forward together, and let's collaborate and share with everyone why we all love Treasury, and all of us that really are passionate. We're kind of Treasury geeks, and we're proud of it. So let's have a larger voice. So in closing, to everyone, I hope that you have the courage to live your Treasury truths and dare to be great in anything that you do in any part of your life.
Thanks for watching the show. I hope you guys liked it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned and hit the subscribe button for more.